I want to show you a very functional, quick and easy app to add a lot of detail to your models, especially when it comes to the S-tile roof. And really where this script comes from is a company called Vali Architects. It's an architecture firm that creates their own SketchUp scripts. And they have a lot of cool ones. If you just go to valiarchitects.com, SketchUp scripts, you'll see that they have a whole series of different things that you can do and build things very quickly. I find a lot of them don't work for us in that we do a lot of very custom things, and it takes a lot of tweaking to get it to be exactly the way we design versus more of a generic kind of look, but some things are used very well in what we do. And one of those will be the Instant Roof NUI, which is right here. It's a paid subscription app, meaning you pay it yearly, but it's really worth it, and I want to show you some of the features that we use in the office now. So once it's downloaded and installed, we can apply them to roofs. And so here I have 3 different roofs, a hip roof, a gable roof, and then a combination of hip and gables. And in SketchUp, you can simply add materials to these roofs to make them look a little nicer. You can add, say, an S-tile or a standing seam, maybe even a slate with a standing seam, whatever it is. And these look fine for quick designs, but they always look better once you get a little bit of three-dimensionality to them, especially on the standing seam and the S-tile. And I'll get more into the standing seam in another episode. And the slate tile and shingles really is a 2-dimensional roof. The 3-dimensionality is pretty minimal and never really noticed in 3D models, so those are fine as is as well. So the one I really want to talk about are S-tiles. From above this looks fine, but once you get down here you can see just how flat it looks. You're not getting the eave look that would typically be part of an S-tile roof. So I'm going to back out and get out all of these details, or excuse me, all these materials that are in the model, and I'm simply going to add this one here. You can download this again from Vali Architects. It's part of the script. Simply right click it and add to model. So when I come here, you can see this is my, it doesn't have to be the only material, but right now it's my only material in the model, but it's important to have it in before you start the script. So what I want to do is create an S-tile roof, and I want to make sure that I put tiles on these 4 faces, and I also want to have a hip cap on these 4 hip lines as well as a ridge cap. So I want to select those lines, these faces, but not the eave. And you'll see that when I run the extension, which is under Extensions, Vali Architects, Roof NUI, and add roof details, I typically use Mission S, works well, and I add the material. We want to make sure we select the material that we added, and then simply just run the script, and you'll see that very quickly it created a roof with a nice variegated color, has our hip caps and our ridge cap, and you can see from looking down below that you have a nice 3-dimensionality to this roof now, and with very minimal effort. Similarly, let's do this on our hip roof, and the same thing, we want to add our faces that we want to add material to, our ridge line, but we also want to make sure we add in our gable so we can do our gable cap detail. So with those lines selected, our gables, our ridge, and our faces, but not the eaves, we'll run the script again. And you can see we now have a nice gable end cap, and again the nice S-tile roof look with a variegated color. And again, this can be done on multiple roof styles as well. Simply, I know what I want to select, so I'm simply just going to run my cursor this way, which gets all of those pieces. Hit Control to add additional selections in, and so now I have everything I want. I have my hip lines, I have, excuse me, my gable lines, I have my hip lines, I have my 2 ridges, and you can see I do not have my valley lines because we don't put a valley cap in, and as well as all the faces that will require the detail as well. So once those are selected, extensions, we'll run this detail, And you can see very quickly we added in a lot of detail and very minimal effort. The nice thing is, let's say this roof changes, so we just delete the roof. Maybe the house grew, 20 feet that way and say 6 feet that way, whatever it is. We just simply come back and select all the pieces we need, run the script again, and once we run it, see we added our roof right back with very minimal effort even after a change occurred. So you can see we quickly built three very complex looking roofs with very minimal effort with a lot of detail. So it's a great app to be able to do what you need to do within this style of architecture. And again, we'll get into different roof detailing in a future episode.